Okay, good evening, Lynn, and trust you can hear me well.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, Mwalimu.
Asante sana and karibu.
Thank you.
Yeah, tried to reach out to the rest so that we can be able to proceed, but I'm seeing already our time is up. So we'll continue with the discussions. I trust they will join us along the way. I don't know if we've been able to link up with Josh, if he's joining us.
Josh has not spoken to me today.
Okay.
We spoke yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. So we just continue as we allow them some time so
Right.
that we are able to be on time as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus. We are grateful for this night, and we want to honor you and appreciate you for the opportunity to continue engaging as leaders and to continue trusting in you, Jehovah Father. We pray that as we continue to share the knowledge that you have imparted in us, oh God, and as we continue to tap more from you, may you speak to us clearly and deepen our understanding in terms of leadership and also in terms of our relationship with you. We pray for all members of this cohorts 20 and 21. God, as we embark on this final leg, oh God, we are praying for your grace to take us through to the final, to the end of this program, oh God, and more importantly, to experience the change that has resulted from this experience. This we pray, trusting and believing in Jesus' name.
Amen.
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 So I trust you had a good week. We now on weekend.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we can start by just sharing on how far you've been able to go. We just exchange.
Right.
Then from there we can see how to proceed. So I think just feel free to take it from whatever angle. But basically from the title that you have identified, if you have already set up the objectives, you can, the problem statement, you can also highlight the same and the objectives. I'm happy we're also being joined by an alumni so that we can at least give our input as much as possible. As we indicated from the very beginning, it's a continuous process. And we just want to see how much we can do within that limited time. So we may not really push so much, but at least we may want to see how much can we be able to do. And whatever the team will be able to deliver, that will be okay and enough for the program. As we also discussed, can the team continue with this project proposal even after the class? As much as we're expecting at least something concrete from you, we also understand that the time is limited. And there are also other consideration of why we normally do this project proposal. So at the end, we'll do an evaluation looking at issues of how to operate as a team. So we'll do an evaluation basically focusing on the project proposal, and then together we'll see how did we perform in that evaluation as a team. So I just want to take the opportunity just to welcome you so that we can be able to share how far you've been able to go, and then we see what we can add to enhance whatever you have done. So feel free and welcome, Lynn.
Thank you very much. Good evening once again.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I'm glad that today is a great day, a new day for us to continue with this program. Our project is going on well. We still at draft level, but we have been able to identify the topic. I thought we could have had consensus with my partner on this, whether to present or not, because we've not really put our heads together to agree on all the areas, but I know we have agreed on the title. So our project title, we are looking at rainwater harvesting and sanitation, a case of Kasarani constituency, Nairobi, and in Kenya. So that is our title. And we have been able to look at the problem around Kasarani regarding our topic. And we have been able to find that there are several issues around Kasarani constituency, and the issue of clean water is one of the problems that we have identified. And it's a critical area that the Kasarani region is grappling with, and we have been able to get further down to look at what are our objectives then. And we have looked at the main objective, and like I've said, it is really raw. My presentation is really raw, so I believe you will bear with us. And with that understanding, the main objective we have said is to implement an integrated rainwater harvesting system. Having looked at what is hailing the constituency, we are thinking of how rainwater harvesting can be one of the solutions to this issue of water and sanitation. We have identified specific objectives, and we are saying that we would like to understand the levels of water stress in Kasarani. We are also saying that we would like to appreciate the various sources of water and use. We are also saying that we would like to explore through our literature review, no, that bullet is not very clear. The next one is that we would like to appreciate the challenges of accessing clean rainwater. And the last one is that we are saying we would like to appreciate the extent of untreated wastewater substantially and substantially increase recycling and access to safe drinking water. So this is what we have been able to put up, and we have gone further to do a lot of literature review just to help us shape up our objectives, and also be firm on the area of study. So we have various methodologies that we are using. One is the literature review way, and we are also looking at, given the presentation we got, we have found it necessary to also look at how this area, through an observation, a process, is coping up with the problem and getting a way out of it. There are several write-ups, and therefore we are able to observe what is happening and also what can be done to make the issue of water easy to manage. We have also looked at a lot of findings through the literature review, and we are still in the process of looking at the literature review to inform this area. And as we do that, we are also capturing the references that we are going through. So the references, we realized that we have to capture them consistently and concurrently as we move on. And that we have found it's convenient for us, and our presentation will be more complete as we capture this. So basically, that is the far we have come, and we hope with some little more time, we shall be able to polish this presentation and come to a level of completeness. And with that, I pause there. I'm Mwalimu for as far as our presentation is concerned. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Oh, thank you so much, Lynn, and I think that is commendable. We appreciate you. I think you have set the context, the big picture, which is very important. Margaret and Mary, how are you? And good evening. Margaret, just try to see if we are communicating well.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening and welcome, Margaret. Thank you so much. How about Mary?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. I'm well. I'm blessed this evening. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you and welcome. How about Eunice?
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm also fine. The Lord is good. Happy to be in this session with you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Eunice. God bless you too. So I may want us just to reflect on what Lynn has shared. And I think it's important that if any of us has any observation or comment or contribution, let's feel free to contribute because at the end of the day, we are assuming that we are the stakeholders who can partake on this project. We are the investors. So we want to listen with that from that angle along the discussion. In all the discussion, we want to see, can we buy into what they have presented? And is there something that we may need some more clarification? We know it's a very high level presentation. There's still a lot to be included, but already at least we have a picture of what it entails. So I will also open it up so that all of us can make our own observation and make any contribution. But before that, let me just share a few observations from my end. If I got the title correct, is Rainwater Harvesting and Sanitation, a case of Kasarani, Kenya. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So those of us who watched the debate for Nairobi governorship, this was a very key issue that came up very strongly about water. And I think, Lane, you are really addressing an issue, because normally that is the first thing that we want to see. Is this an issue that requires our attention? So even from the general observation, we can already attest to this, that it's an issue. But now, as we focus down, especially on the problem statement, we may want to get some facts around this. We may want to also get some references on the same. I've noted you have mentioned lack of clean water within that area. So I don't know if there is any particular reference, any particular document that is able to highlight this, so that we can actually qualify this statement, that indeed, maybe from this research, from this proposal, from this, any document that you're able to get that indicates that there is lack of water in this area, so that we qualify that. So I don't know if you have anything on that that qualifies the problem statement. Yeah, but
Yes, we were able to access a document, the Kasarani constituency, a document that came in October 2002. We were also able to access another document, a report of the water sanitation by a committee that had visited the Mwiki ward. And this also brought out the issues of water. And the beauty of it is that the topic is all about water sanitation. And we also were able to access another document which was giving proceedings of a conference, and this was on rainwater catchment systems in Nairobi. And this was done, the one from Wiki was done in March 2014, and the one for the conference, there was an international conference on rainwater catchment systems, and it was held in Nairobi. And this was from 1st to 6th of August, 1993. And we were also able to get a paper by Mr. Ladu, who had also done a research looking at the possibilities and challenges of rainwater harvesting in Nairobi. So these are the 4 main documents that we were able to get the matter from. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that sounds quite comprehensive. I had, in my notes, I had put the issue of population versus water supply. Probably that can also be another factor you can consider. But already you have quite a lot. So it's not necessarily you add this, but if you decide to carry on with this paper, even beyond this class, probably something that you can focus on: population versus vis-a-vis water supply, and as well as developments that are coming up, and with the existing water systems that probably are strained. But so far, from what you have presented, I think that's adequate to allow you now to move on with the other parts of the project proposal. Especially
maybe I can react on that point you have raised, Mwalimu. I think you are right, but what we have done is that we have captured the issue of population under the motivation.
Okay.
So it is part of the motivating elements of the research. And we are hoping that we are going to get it the way you are directing. Thank you.
Okay. That's okay. And I think we are on the right track for the objectives. The main objective: to implement an integrated rain harvesting system. So the integration that brings in the rain, including the other systems or the other sources of water? If you can just explain the integrated, what will that entail?
Thank you. The integration here, we were looking at other systems because what the issue of water is one system. And we also, I mean, the harvesting bit of rainwater is one system, and there is the other systems, the piped water, you know, borehole water. So we would like to see to what extent the rainwater would be incorporated to ease the supply of water to this area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Specific objectives. Understand the level of water stress in Kasarani. That's very precise and very important. And then appreciate the challenges of accessing clean water. The last one, I didn't get the last one clear. Maybe you can just at least go through your objectives again so that I get the last one.
Yes, like I said, Mwalimu, we are still struggling with polishing the objectives, but the last one, we were saying that we'd like to appreciate the extent of untreated wastewater. We found ourselves not having polished this. But the point was to appreciate the extent of untreated wastewater with a view of looking at how substantially we can increase recycling. There's the bit that we are thinking of the untreated water, the recycling, and access of safe drinking water. So we were in the middle of trying to see how we can get more than one objective out of this. And that's why you're finding we are also struggling to give a conclusive objective on this one, but we shall be able to do in due course. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I think the first one is clear, the level of water stress in Kasarani. Appreciate the challenges of accessing clean water. And probably you can also look at the various sources of waters and maybe just to see what are the various available sources of water, including now the one you have mentioned there. I don't know if you can bring the aspect of untreated waste there, but as you're saying, that is something you're still discussing. But I agree with the first two, I agree with them. It's important to understand the level of water stress in Kasarani, and also maybe the challenges. What are the challenges? And you can also consider, as you understand the level of water stress, you also explore what are the available sources of water, the various sources of water within that area. And then maybe now finally you can also come up with as an objective, maybe what will be the output. Because if I look at this project proposal, at the end of it all, we want to come up with an output. We want to come up with a strategy on how to now address these particular issues that have been identified through this research. So just think through that. But I think this is also quite commendable because already we are seeing the gist of the issue. Motivation, I agree. The issue of population becomes an issue, a key issue here. The growing population is a motivation why this project proposal is important. And maybe appreciating the value of water, how critical water is to humanity. So I think those two aspects can stand in very well for the motivation. So that one is okay. Methodology, literature review, observation. I would also suggest if you have a case study, I think that will also be very, very useful. I don't know if you have considered that. or a benchmarking study.
Okay, captured. Thank you.
Okay, good. So let's keep on the interaction. Let's interact more along this. I don't know if the rest, Eunice, any comment from your end? I know you are an alumni and you've gone through this.
Yeah, I'll start by saying I'm Eunice from Cohort 10 alumni, and I want to commend that project proposal. First of all, because of its relevance. Yeah, so because water, Nairobi is very key to the residents. So I like the fact that it's a very relevant point. I also recommend the professionalism of the proposal, the way she has come out. With the time limit in this program, it's commendable. You've done a good job, Lynn. Probably the few areas you need to check on, maybe with given time, you can do much more. So for me, I just appreciate the effort because I was there and I know time is not on our side, and maybe even working with the rest of the group, sometimes it's a challenge, but I know you will go far. And I also, like Chair has said, maybe you can consider working on it and giving it out for to be considered even in other bodies. It's a good thing. God bless you.
Okay, thank you so much, Eunice. And maybe for the title, we can look at how we can qualify that title. There's something you read on one of the paper that was talking about possibilities and challenges of, was it water harvesting? I think one of the references that you cited. And quickly I noted, if there is a way we can also qualify your topic so that from that thinking, that paper was looking at the possibilities and challenges of either water harvesting, if I got it right. So do we also try and qualify your title? I don't know if you'll focus, are you focusing on opportunities? Are you focusing on the challenges? So that we also align the topic probably a little bit, we make it a little bit focused.
Mwalimu, can I react?
Yes.
Yeah, it is that paper is about possibilities and challenges of rainwater harvesting in Nairobi.
Okay.
We considered that, but again, on our side, we thought there is the bit about sanitation that has not been considered in that paper, and yet we really want to have a feel of how sanitation is happening, because the two is like the two sides of a coin, and therefore that is what informed our bringing on board the sanitation bit. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So let's keep on engaging on this. I don't know if there is any other reaction from the rest of the team. I can also see Josh. Josh is on board. Good evening, Josh. Okay, we seem to have a challenge with the sound on the audio from Josh, but he's represented well by Lynn. Margaret and Mary, any comment on this project? Okay, I think if there is none, then we can move on. Lynn and Josh, congratulations, and let's keep pushing. This is a very good start with the limited time and how much you've been able to do. I'm sure within the next 2 weeks, we'll be seeing something very, very refined and polished. If you just keep at that speed, and we appreciate that, and thank you, and let's continue in that spirit. Good. So I think we can move on. Margaret, we can also listen from your end. How much have you been able to do? And then we can also give you our input just to help us move on from this point.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, okay.
Good evening.
Talking about the project, we have been talking about leading the family. That is the topic we came up with, leading the family in the 21st century. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and leading the family in the 21st century. This is about the family. And the wise is like okay, family being the most important thing in the society. That's why we chose this topic. And the challenges facing the family in leading, that a well-led family brings up a good leader also. So one, it's about laying good foundations in the family. As in, the foundation is very important. It's the key of the family. And from the family, that's where we can get a leader and a good leader. Well, having a family also needs, like, you need to create time about it. And creating time, yeah. And also laying altars of the family, that is in the Christian way. And if I can narrate about it, if we check on the effects of the family, that is the families that has not been laid good foundations from start, there are a lot of challenges and a lot of effects. For an example, the times of Corona, we have seen that families have been so much affected, and it has raised a lot of issue also, and bringing problem and being so challenging to raise a family, that is including of either a child, or that is a boy or a girl. And when I mean of a family, we don't only mean that it's only your own family, but leading a family is also leading the society. Yeah, this is a very big topic, which we can't exhaust it, but it's something that we are still talking of, and that we agree on what to, the issues, the advantages, and disadvantages about it, about leading or being a leader in the 21st century. Yeah, if we check, we came up like the family being backbone of every leadership. And as I've said, that leadership starts with the family. And there's a lot of dynamics in the issues in the family also, and becoming also challenging, as I've said. And if we lack a good foundation in the family, it will be also so difficult to have leaders, future leaders. So family is very important. That's why we are coming with this kind of a topic, and we are still talking about it. And I hope we'll get somewhere with the topic. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Again, very important area of discussion, family. and also relating the same to what we are discussing here, the issue of leadership. Clearly, as you have put it, this is the backbone of the society. If we want to model, if we want to improve society, then we have to go back and address this particular issue. So one, I think I want to commend you because you have again identified an area that just by mentioning it, we can all feel that indeed this is something that needs to be addressed. And now from that big picture, we want now to narrow down so that we focus specifically on the particular issue. Because remember, one way of persuading people is to also really have a very coherent, very comprehensive, very logical presentation. And that's now where this issue of project proposal comes in very handy, so that we are able to structure the conversation very well. So from the topic, leading the family in the 21st century, that gives us the topic and maybe the background. The background can also be within that, but we want to focus more on the problem statement. What is the problem that we are addressing? And as we bring out the problem, we also want to ensure that we are not just probably sharing our own opinion, but we also converging with other write-ups that are already out there. So that again, we can be able to say, indeed, this issue has been cited. This issue has been identified, maybe by this paper. This issue was identified by this report. This issue was identified by maybe a particular study. And that's why we feel this is important. So Margaret, probably what we now need to focus on to bring out clear is to be able to look at any available literature that clearly brings out this issue of family, leading the family as an issue in society. And that is now within the problem statement. So, and that doesn't need to be a lot of literature, maybe just one paragraph or so that is able to actually bring out that very clearly. And then from the problem statement, we need now to again look at the objectives. Why is this? What is the objective? The main objective and also the specific objectives that we intend to achieve through implementing or undertaking this study. So the objectives, I think, needs to become clear. You have mentioned a little bit of the motivation, so we need just to capture it clearly, the critical role of family in society. And that's why I'm sure we need to study more about this topic. So that has come out a little bit from your conversation, but again, we also need to look at it and see how maybe to enhance it, and also where necessary, cite the references on the same. How about the methodology? Are you going to focus on literature review? Are you going to focus on a survey or a study, or are you going to do a benchmarking? I don't know if you have discussed about the methodology as well, Margaret.
No, we have not discussed much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll be doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the topic is clear. So I think now let's just narrow down and start filling those addressing those particular areas. If you get the problem statement clear and the objectives clear, then the rest of the project proposal becomes much easier, because we are all the other part of the project proposal is actually addressing those particular areas. So we want just to commend you again, and let's pull through these last 2 weeks. Normally in every class, the last 3 weeks are normally very critical. They are a bit straining, but when we get to the final presentation, every team looks at what they have done and they are amazed, because they didn't, sometimes some teams could not imagine that they could do all that work. But when they finalize and they see what they have done, they feel like, wow. we have been able to unearth all this information. And through unearthing the information, they also realize that we have learned so much through undertaking the research. So it will be also a very, very interesting experience as we explore the different sources, because we are also adding knowledge to ourselves. And also it's also presenting us with that culture of wanting to make decisions based on facts, based on evidence, based on research, so that at least you're able to make decisions that are informed. And I think towards the end, we'll also see this one clearly. So Margaret, I just want to encourage you, together with your team, please, after this, converge your team. If you agree, maybe one person can look at this area, another one this area, and then by Saturday, I'm sure we'll have something as a build-up on what we have discussed today. And this is also happening to all of us and to all the groups. So thank you, and we appreciate that. Any comment for Margaret and Pastor Phyllis before we conclude with Mary? Oh, sorry, Margaret, they are together with Reverend Ken and Mr. Joshua. Yeah. So any comment for this team? Maybe Lynn, any observation from your end?
Yes, thank you so much. Once again, I want to join hands with you to commend the team. In fact, this is a very interesting topic that they've chosen, and it brings out quite a lot in what we have. We are learning as leaders, and it is a ground where this application will be so much evident. And I also see that, like Margaret has said, it can spill over. It is a wide topic. So the objectives will perhaps be the way to tie it down, or to make some boundaries around it. And it will be easy now to research within a boundary that is convenient and manageable. Otherwise, I can't wait. She's already speaking things that are so fundamental to all of us. The issue of foundation is critical, and we would really want to see what the team will bring out on this, because it's an area that is really wanting in the community. So once again, I want to congratulate the team. It's an exciting area. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I'm also looking forward to what will come out of this, because as you have said, it's very interesting. It's affecting all of us, and I think it will also be something that a paper that will be knowledge, in terms of knowledge sharing. We'll be able to learn a lot from what this team will come up with. Good. So I think we can, unless Eunice, you have a comment, we may want to proceed.
I didn't get her so well.
Okay, sorry for that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so Mary and Pastor Phyllis, you can also share how far you have gone and how far you've been able to discuss up to this particular point. Then we'll conclude at that.
Thank you, Mwalimu. Let me begin by giving an apology for my colleague, Pastor Phyllis. She wasn't able to attend class today, but she's fine. She actually informed me that she spoke to you earlier in the day. Yeah, so for us, we haven't been able to do much, but at least we've come up with a topic which we are still putting together. And the topic we are tackling is factors influencing performance of poultry farming project in Kiambu County, Nairobi, Kenya. The team members, of course, are myself and Pastor Phyllis. Yes, that is, we are only two in this team. So we are yet working on these projects. Yeah, but at least having the topic with us, we are yet to acknowledge the problem statement and the objectives. Yes, we haven't done much.
Okay, Mary, I think again, the first thing that we want to look at is the topic and also maybe the relevance of the topic, just from the general observation. Again, we can attest to this. We know this is an area that so many people have ventured into, poultry farming in Kenya. I know there is a lot happening around this particular area, and this can be a very informative discussion. I'm seeing this again. If you look at some benchmarking cases, I'm sure you may be able to bring out very, very good information that will be very informative. Yeah. It's also a practical area. Maybe you might come up with some strategies or proposals that might be implemented at the might be implementable. So it's also an area that you can come up with the strategies that can be implemented. So I agree. The topic is relevant. So now what we need to bring out is the practical aspect of the logical layout, starting with the problem statement, as you have noted. Is this really a problem? Has it been identified? Has it been cited by any particular paper, any particular study? Are there other papers that have looked at this? And what is the gap? What did they miss out? Because factors are influencing performance of poultry farming. So are there other papers that have handled this? And what is the gap? What did they miss out that you feel you need to bring, you need to undertake this this study? Maybe also the domain, they might have focused on a different domain and you want to focus on a particular domain. That also qualifies why you feel this is important. But again, we are looking more, for us, as much as we are in between a very academic, we're also looking at something that is also implementable. So I'll just request you, let's focus now on the particular subtitles or subtopics, and make sure we address them. The problem statement, look at that, explore the literature out there, address that particular area, and then come up with the project objectives. From that, now we're able now to really be able to give more input, having seen your perspective and what you want to cover or what issue you want to address. So I think the comments are almost similar to what we have shared with Margaret. So I may not want to really overemphasize, because already I'm sure we are already on the same page.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so probably we can just allow 2 minutes from the team. Any comment from the team, then we embark on the lesson for tonight. So any comment? If there is none, then we'll move on.
I think I can comment on what Mary has presented. This is also another area. Personally, I will be a beneficiary of this paper because I've tried poultry farming in Machakos, and my story is one that it has been very challenging to pull through. I tried for 8 months, and I found myself facing quite a number of challenges, right from the market down to the health of the birds. So I'm looking forward to this, because the outcome of this paper will definitely contribute towards additional knowledge on how best, because I'm still hooked into the venture, but the challenges have kind of slowed me down. So Mary, as you move on, you have a ready customer to consume your research. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you, Lynn. And again, Mary, nowadays we are talking a lot about smart farming. So is there smart poultry, and what are the possibilities of people venturing into that? That's food for thought. Explore around that area. We see at the end of the day what you'll come up with. Good. So, leaders, I think now you can see this is basically how these discussions will proceed to the very end. And you'll be surprised within the next 2 weeks what you'll be having. The proposal that we'll be presenting will be so refined, will be very, very polished, because now from in the course of the week, whatever you submit to us, we'll also polish it, send it back to you. And that conversation and exchange will ensure that we come up with something that is comprehensive, something that will be of value to us as a team, and also of value to the rest of the people in this network. During the final presentation, we normally invite the alumni just to come on board and also listen to your discussions, benefit from this knowledge, and also enrich whatever you will have come up with, especially if you want to move on and implement the project or share the study with other team. So kudos, I think we can all appreciate ourselves for that wonderful work. Congratulations for this milestone, and we are there together to the very end. So can we move on to the discussion on the lesson?
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on with tonight's discussion. Very, very interesting topic. We are looking at very, very interesting topic, leaders. We are at the core leadership competences. We are actually at the heart of leadership. One of the key role of a leader is to mentor and to prepare for succession. And if we can just talk out of our general observation, this is a major issue. Been to a number of institutions, and you realize the issue of mentorship remains to be a big, big challenge. There are institutions that intentionally may not want to bridge that gap. There are institutions or there are places where the culture ensures that the CEO and maybe the next online, there's so much gap. And that brings an issue when it comes to issues of succession. So this is a real issue. And I'm sure just having this conversation and looking at our institutions, looking at our personal level, at the family level, at all those angles, I want us just to look at this from all those angles as we discuss this. Let me start by quoting Isaac Newton. He said that if I have seen further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. Every giant that we are seeing today had a shoulder to stand on. And you are standing on a shoulder. You stood on a shoulder to be where you are. And someone is also looking at our shoulders so that they can step on our shoulders to be able to see to see far. Someone is looking at us building a ladder to allow them to be able to step on those ladder, on those steps, so that they can be able to achieve their purpose and also optimize their potential. So thinking on this, I want to say that leadership, as leaders, we win by passing the baton. How we pass the baton is very, very important, it's critical. Miles Monroe said that leadership is not a sprint, it's a marathon relay. The most important part is not just running. Running is important, yes, but again, there's that part that is very important, which is passing the baton. If passing the baton is not done well, then it means all the gains, all the energy that runner invested in will go to waste, because that runner cannot win alone. It requires the other person to take the baton and run and pass the baton to the next person. The African proverb puts this very well. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This is the spirit of this network, Generational Leadership Network. If we want to compound, we felt that if we want to compound our impact, yes, we can focus on the followers, we can focus on the bigger mass. But if we focus on the 20% of every congregation, and the 20% of every congregation is the leaders. So if we come to an organization and we focus on the leaders, then we can compound the effect, we can compound the impact much, much faster than going to the individual and just speaking to the individual, maybe on events driven. So this is very important as we look at this, just to set the pace that leadership is not a sprint, it's a marathon relay. And therefore we are running to pass the baton. Warren Buffett, he said that someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Today we are planting trees. We are planting trees by investing in peoples. We are building structures, building systems that are able to provide an environment for other people to flourish. Literally, if you take this, you can actually see a tree takes so long to mature, and therefore mentorship, we look at it from a long-term perspective. We might not even see the immediate the impact now, but in terms of long-term, the impact might be manifested even in our presence or in our absence. Nelson Mandela, what counts in life is not the mere fact that we lived, it is what difference the trees that we have planted, the hearts that we have transformed, the structures that we have put in place, the people that we have been able to build a ladder for them to climb up. I think that is the greatest joy of every leader. Yeah, just standing somewhere and seeing people flourishing, people succeeding, seeing a young person that you took up, mentored as an intern, the person became, was employed, the person became a manager, and the people that the person is able to be successful. The testimonial we have received in this masterclass, I remember there's one young man who undertook this program and is now serving at a very senior position in one of the organizations. And he was telling me this was a very good foundation for him, because he was able to articulate issues that even the management were like feeling, this man is informed, this man knows what exactly he's talking about. This lesson is normally taken by Reverend Kahindi, because he has mentored so many people in KCB Bank. We appreciate what he's done there. I know there's someone who went through this and was promoted. He's now heading the branch at a village market. And it's based on the mentorship that he's also offering out there. And the offering, and also the same that we're discussing today. All of us, we have a responsibility, and I'm sure we are playing this responsibility at different degrees. But I think after today, again, we can re-emphasize that mentorship is core. It's a core function of leadership. And every great achiever, great leaders, they inspire, or great achievers are inspired by great leaders, and great leaders are great mentors. Why are they great mentors? Because they rejoice in the success of others. Yeah, and the highest level of unselfish thinking comes when someone can engage in mentorship, giving yourself to other people for their personal development, offering that shoulder, that you can stand on my shoulder and you can rise as you stand on this shoulder. Robert said that we rise by lifting others. We'll rise by lifting others. If we use the energy to lift others, then we can also have the opportunity to rise up. But if we use the energy to stop others, then we may not even have the energy to lift up ourselves. I think John Maxwell, he said that he talks about the lead. The leader is the lead. And if I invest more energy in bringing other people, they will push me up. They'll push me up so that they can take up these spaces that we are creating for them to occupy. So we rise by lifting others as leaders. And this is the thinking of a mentor, the thinking of a leader that wants to mentor. Just looking at these relationship paradigms. Yeah, this is the way a leader who is secure thinks. Yeah, especially on the win-win. There are various relationship paradigms where someone can think in terms of I win, you lose, which means I'll only win once. Another paradigm is where someone thinks in terms of you win, I lose, then you win only once. But we can also think in terms of we both lose and then the partnership is over. But in a case where we both win, we win many times, long term, and becomes a partnership. And this is the thinking of every mentor, every secure mentor, a secure leader. They want to win together. We want to run that relay race. And because I cannot win alone, I need to make sure that I pass it very well. And when I pass it very well, then it means the other person is able to run and pass. And then after the four of us have concluded, we are all winners. We are all winners. And that becomes a win-win relationship. And that is the thinking of a leader who is focused into focus to mentorship. So what is mentorship? Just to highlight in brief, the guidance provided by a mentor, especially in an experienced person, that is an Oxford definition. But again, there's another online source there, a relationship between two people where the individual with more experience, knowledge, and connections is able to pass along what they have learned, including the connections, including the networks. Yeah, a professional activity or a trust relationship or a meaningful commitment. There are some qualities of a good mentor. These ones are also in the manual. So a good mentor, one, will build trust because this is a relationship. Yeah, a mentor builds trust. Is also very good when it comes to listening. He's an active and deep listener. He's not there to quickly offer solution, but you are there to be able to understand the person and see what can work for the person. He's also understanding, encourages. He's also a person who inspires hope, because sometimes we are taking someone from where they cannot see even hope in themselves. And we need to ensure that they can see the hope in themselves and the hope in the future. They're also reliable and authentic. Reliable and authentic. People that can take you to their deep part of their lives, the hidden moments, the hidden experiences, and share where they failed, the lesson they learned, and how the journey has been, because it's not always sunshine. There are dark moments, there are dark times. If you want to impress someone, share about your success. But if you want to impact someone, take the person to the struggles that you have gone through, those hidden moments that really molds what we are seeing at the tip of the iceberg. There's that down part of the iceberg, the core part of the iceberg, where we are mentored there, we are cooked there, if I can use that word. We are refined there, like the gold. Those are the experiences that really transforms a person. So a mentor also sees ahead of what others can see. He's able to see what a mentee cannot see. and stretch the mentee to start seeing or having the same picture. So inspires and coaches others to navigate a course of one, self-discovery, very important. I think the mentorship platform provides an environment where the person can be able to get deep in themselves, discover themselves, their strength, their challenges, their weakness, their abilities that they can focus on, develop and deploy their potential. So a mentor is also a secure leader, and it thrives in growing others. A mentor also is someone who allows others to be able to see the hope inside themselves. That's according to Oprah Winfrey. Okay, so again, qualities of a good mentor. A mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within the person and is able to help that person bring out. So the greatest good you can do for another person is not just to share your riches, but to reveal that person, to reveal to him or her his own riches. That's what mentors do. We are able to really show the gold in that person, or sometimes just refocus the person to start seeing the gold. Yeah, most of the time I say the gold is not out there, but the gold is in us. But we need someone who can tell us, please get deep in yourself. Please reflect more and share our story. And then all of a sudden we realize, wow, what I've been looking for was not out there, but it was in here. I needed someone to help me or someone to see it on my behalf and refocus my attention so that I can see this gold in me. So leaders, I think, for me, I think this is my take home. The greatest good you can do for another is not just to share your riches, but to reveal to him or her his own riches. That is according to Benjamin Disraeli. And then if your action inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a mentor. You are a great leader. And a leader takes people where they want to go. Yeah, a great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be there. Sometimes when you are mentoring people, it's not easy because they may not be seeing what you are seeing. And because of that, that thinking or that visual aspect of maybe they are looking at the short term, they might even feel you're straining them, you're stretching them too much. But again, we have to move with them to what we are seeing. So a great leader, a great mentor takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but they ought to be going there. They ought to get to that that level. So a mentor empowers a person to see a possible future and believe that it can be attained. In summary, these are some of the qualities of a good mentor: build trust, encourage hope, inspire hope, listen, be reliable, be authentic, and also create an environment where people are able to have fun. Even the mentorship environment may not necessarily need to be very formal. We can have a mentorship environment where we take people to a place where at least they are relaxed. I remember during COVID period, as a family, one of the issues that we agreed is that we'll use this time, because we have been locked in our houses, we'll use this time to mentor our children, And sometimes in the evening, we just put some music, get out just outside the compound, have some exercise there, run around, jog, do all that. But for me, because I'm in charge, I'm in charge of the frame. I know today we are talking about a particular topic on mentorship. And then along the way, as we dance, as we move around, I'll pass the message. I'll share whatever message I wanted to pass to my children, and they will appreciate it because the environment is fun. We are enjoying ourselves. But at the right time, I ensure that I have communicated what I wanted to communicate. So it's good to get what works for you, but also make it fun. Why mentor? Why do we need to mentor? One, it's teamwork. Whatever we are doing is teamwork. Leaders, remember what we have always been saying, that we are visionary. We are carrying big visions that needs people, visions that can outlive us, visions that will go beyond our lifetime. And if we want to ensure that they are they ensure the continuity, then the best way is to mentor. So it's teamwork, as Wangari Maathai said. You cannot do it alone. She said that I'm very conscious of the fact that you cannot do it alone. It's teamwork. When you do it alone, you run the risk that when you are no longer there, nobody else will do it. So it's about teamwork. 2, we are saying we secure and preserve the future through mentorship. The greatest act of leadership is what happens in your absence. As a leader, if everything you have achieved dies with you, you are a failure. And success without a successor is failure. Those are words of Dr. Miles Monroe. The greatest act of leadership is what happens in our absence. And as a leader, if I cease to exist with all that I have, with all that I've achieved, then in a way we can say I've failed. And success without a successor is failure. Number 3, we secure the next generation by mentorship. The sure way to secure the next generation is to mentor. Mentorship is our gift to the next generation. That's the best we can, best gift we can pass to them. 4th, we protect and sustain leadership, achievement, and impact through mentorship. The sure way to safeguard and sustain our leadership achievements. We have labored, we have achieved much, we have walked through this journey. Then if we want to protect that, we need to mentor, so that whatever you are living, you leave whatever you have achieved on the hands of a person that at least you know, at the hand of a person that you have mentored, and you will be sure that whatever you are passing to that person will be protected. We have seen what is happening to families, seen what is happening to organizations. Someone has worked very hard, has accumulated a lot of assets, and then when the person is not there, becomes chaotic. I know there are many factors, but again, I think mentorship plays a big role when it comes to issues of ensuring that we safeguard and bringing them early enough to work together with them as we prepare them to continue running the race. Again, is the pathway to true legacy. True legacy is about mentorship. I always say that legacy is not sought after. It's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of how I've led and how I've lived my life. So the sure way to build and preserve a worthwhile legacy is to mentor. Mentorship is the path to true legacy. And a secure legacy is anchored and sustained in people, not just in tangible assets. And mentorship is about people. It's about people. And when we mentor, we actually engaging in the right investment. Mentorship is the overall measure of success in leadership. If I want to measure how successful I am, look at it from the mentorship perspectives. Finally, how do we mentor? One, we are saying we need to be intentional about it. Because if I'm intentional, then I'll do it on purpose, and probably I will even think in terms of the structure, the method. I'll think about it and prepare for it. So I need to be intentional. We need to focus on matchmaking. Matchmaking, they say mentorship requires matchmaking. There are many people who might approach you, but again, we may need to see who should I mentor, and maybe who can be referred to another person. Then mentorship thrives in a mentorship culture. It's a culture. Mentorship is a culture. And also it's also a mindset, and it requires the right environment. But it's a culture. We make it a culture. It's not event-driven. It's a culture. It requires authenticity. Yeah, so both success and failure should be embraced as channel of learning. Number 5, mentorship is futuristic. So habits take time to develop, and therefore both the mentor and mentee should value today, but visualize tomorrow. They should take advantage of the moment, but be mostly motivated by the desired future, especially for the mentee. And even the mentor, both of them can give up if we lose sight of the future. Yeah, so mentorship is a process. It takes time, patience, and mentorship also requires a methodology. We need to think through. And that's why I said when we make it to be purposeful, then we can even investigate, we can refer, we can research, so that we see how well do we undertake this. So develop methods and systems to help in mentor matching, communication. How do we communicate? How do we manage our progress? what are the agreements? What are the learning plan? What do we cover? How do we evaluate in terms of the feedback? So those are some of the things to focus on when we are looking at the methodology and when we make it intentional. Again, mentorship is achieved outside of comfort zone. Yeah, both the mentee and the mentor will have to move out of the comfort zone. I've seen this a lot because sometimes it might seem like you are slowing down when you are mentoring. It might seem like you are slowing down, but when you look at the results later on, you realize that actually you are compounding, because when you start accelerating, you accelerate not just alone, but you accelerate with many other people. And I was giving this example of what we are doing as Generation Leadership Network. If each leader is able to train their own leader down there, then it means the acceleration will be much, much faster than us just reaching out to every congregation and equipping the followers instead of focusing on the leader. So be comfortable being uncomfortable. Patience, persistence, consistency, and focus are very, very important in mentorship. Then mentorship requires open-mindedness, because both the mentor and the mentees are learning. We're all learning from each other. We need to keep on discovering, adjusting our priorities, developing new habits, which again takes time. And then make it fun. And mentorship requires consistent personal development, because both of us, we are growing. There are 3 C's of a mentor. The 3 C's of a mentor. You will allow me just to conclude the lesson, and then we can engage after the lesson. So the 3 C's of a mentor. A mentor, we said, is an experienced and trusted advisor, and a mentor share knowledge, experience, and provide a support system. So the 3, very important, the 3 roles important to the success of the mentor-mentee relationship are: 1, there are times a mentor can act as a consultant. So in that case, it's the mentor to know when to shift, especially if you can be able to play all these roles. But if you're not able to play all of them, then you can just stick to the one that you feel works well for you. So at a particular role, a particular time, a mentor can play the role of a consultant. This is where a mentor provides specialized recommendations based on probably the industry experience and the industry knowledge, the insights that the person has gained over the years. And mentors are often, in this category, are often experienced in that particular areas than the mentee. And they're able to provide insights that can save a mentee both time and resources in figuring out the problem. So this frees the mentee to be able to focus on other innovative issues, and as he or she continues to grow. Then we have the mentor as a counselor. So here the key role is the mentor needs to listen more, guide, but without giving all answers to the mentee. So as a counselor, a mentor provides a guidance, but not answers. Yeah, enabling their mentee to figure out the right course of action individually. So we are also saying the choice between consultant and counselor depends on the mentee's learning style. And sometimes the mentees needs hand-on experience to fully be able to understand the concepts. So again, now here is the mentor to see, engage the relationship, engage also the mentee. Then finally, the third role is a cheerleader. Mentor as a cheerleader. Yeah. So in apart from providing feedback, advice, a mentor also provides a support system, enthusiasm. Yeah, helps the mentee to celebrate success, pause and celebrate success, no matter how big or how small the progress is. So the cheerleader is able to keep on focusing the mentee to the future, trying to paint that beautiful picture of where we are going in terms of this relationship, and also trying to point out what have we achieved so far. Why don't we pause and celebrate this? Why don't we go and at least have some fun because we have been able to achieve some element of success? So for the 3 roles of mentorship, I want you to note this, that a mentor should know when it is appropriate to switch roles, Whether the mentor is being consultant, counselor, or cheerleader, transparency and communication are two very important aspects when it comes to the success of the mentorship. And then being a mentor is more than telling someone what to do. I'm sure this is something common understanding to all of us. It means sharing experience or expertise with a consultant mindset, guiding the mentee along their journey without giving all the answers, and being a cheerleader where the mentee needs it the most. Finally, leaders, there are 4 phases of mentoring in a mentoring relationship. There are 4 phases. I'll conclude with this. So any successful mentorship relationship will go through these 4 stages. 1, there's preparation, negotiation, enabling growth, and then coming to a closure. So let's just look at them briefly. Preparation, what happens in the preparation? Yeah, strategies for preparing the relationship. This is now where the 2 parties initiate contact with each other, or the mentor initiate contact with the mentee. They exchange background information before starting the engagement, taking time to know each other, share past mentorship experiences, talk about their learning and goals. What are the goals? Determine the expectation. What are our expectations? Why do you need a mentor? That is in case where the mentor is engaging the mentee. They define what are the deliverables. Again, they share personal assumptions and limitation, discuss personal learning styles. How do I learn it? So basically, we are preparing how to engage. Again, negotiation. So in the negotiation, we are talking about probably how much time can we commit? How regularly do we meet? We write down the goals, analyze them, ensuring they are smart. Agree on the discussion format. Do we have formal agendas? What topics do we need to cover? Again, are we going to use a journal to help stay focused? Establish any ground rules. What are the ground rules? Are we going to commit to? Confidentiality, boundaries. Again, be flexible. We are saying expectations and plans will change along the way. And then this is also where the 2 parties looks at how do we evaluate progress, milestone. What are the learning styles? Again, the articulate criteria for success. How do we measure our success? So we are basically negotiating on all these issues, the time, how to regularly to meet, among the other issues that I've mentioned. Then when it comes to enabling growth, so this is where the real learning happens now. We regularly check in, actively listen and advise. This is where also the mentor or the mentee asks for, or the mentor gives feedback to the learning experience, provide timely support, solicits feedback from other sources. They use the time together to ensure their time is productive, is used well. Again, at the enabling growth, we evaluate goals and deadlines to see are we on course. Give constructive criticism at this particular time and accept and reflect on it. And then advise on what you know or don't. We are saying don't be afraid to admit what you don't know as a mentor. Find other resources if you need to provide guidance. And then this is also where we celebrate each small success. So this is the growth zone. The growth zone. So much happens here. And we need to check on these particular issues that we have highlighted there. Then finally, coming to a closure. So consider what you want your mentorship relationship to look like after the formal relationship. Yeah. So we are saying be sensitive to when the relationship should end. Find a personal way to express your feelings about the experience. Give and receive thanks. Even if you are disappointed in the outcome, identify and express the positive benefits that you have gained in the course of the mentorship relationship. And then take time to consider what you learned and identify what you will do differently when you will be mentoring the other person. And then celebrate whatever achievement that you've been able to gather. So in conclusion, you can take these 5 steps of mentorship. Just think of these 5 steps of mentorship. This is also from another course, another source, an online source. You can see the source there, Aspen Group. So the first case is where the mentor is doing everything, the mentee is watching, and we talk. So the mentor is doing everything, the mentee is watching, and we are talking. Second level, the mentor is again doing, but now the mentee is not just watching, is also helping. Think in terms of you're driving and someone is a co-driver. So at this particular time, maybe the person is helping to read the map and all that. Or if it's in an organization, the person now is engaging in some particular tasks. Then the third level, you now shift. If you are the one driving, so you allow the mentee to start now engaging. Let the mentee come to the driving seat, and then you start helping. You start helping. And then you move on to 4, where the mentee is still driving. Now you are watching, you're no longer helping. And then the 5th stage, you let the mentee continue doing it. You walk out, someone else comes on board, and the journey continues. So these are just 5 steps that are helping us to reflect. So in conclusion, we are saying, as global leadership network leaders or generational leadership leaders who are thinking in terms of generational, as a purpose-centered and vision-driven leader, we need to look at this. We should focus on nurturing successors who can take the slot where you are serving in today, who can sit on that seat and ensure that the vehicle will still move on without accidents or without challenges. So our greatest contribution to the future generation is our successors. And success without a successor is failed leadership. We should safeguard and solidify our leadership through mentorship. And therefore, as leaders, we are saying that we need to lead, influence through inspiration, empowerment, and ensure that we continuously mentor in whatever space of leadership that we are being provided with. So leaders, I trust that this is a good time just to reflect, look at where you are, look at how you've been faring on this particular area, evaluate ourselves and see where do we need to adjust, what do I need to probably start doing differently in terms of mentorship and succession. Good. So I want to pause there for maybe 2 minutes or so and just take your reflection. I know we have talked about quite a lot. I've shared quite a lot in a very short time. So I don't know what is speaking to you very loudly, what has come out strong. Just allow some 2 or 3 minutes just to take your reflection, and then we'll conclude within the next 20-something minutes with the last session. So let me open it up. Any comment? One has come out very strong, and I think if we can share something, all of us here, I think it would be very beneficial so that we can learn also from each other. So maybe I can start with Lynn, and then I'll move on to Margaret. So I'm seeing on the chat, Eunice, you are saying great leaders are great mentors. Great leaders are great mentors. Okay, so Lynn, any reflection on this? Or Margaret or Mary, any reflection on what we have covered so far? Okay, leaders, any reflection? I don't know if I also moved very fast. I may also want to know, did I move very fast? We can also share on the chat. Mentors reveal the gold in us. Yeah, thank you, Eunice. Yes, Margaret, I can see you have unmuted.
Yes, my take is that leadership is teamwork. Yeah. When you do it alone, you run the risk that you are no longer there. When you are no longer there, nobody else will do it. So in every position we have, I think we advise that we mentor someone. We leave a legacy in everywhere in our space. So the sure way to build and preserve a worthwhile legacy is to mentor. We just mentor people.
Thank you so much, Margaret. Yeah, it's teamwork, and mentorship is the sure way to safeguard our legacy and also safeguard the achievements. Josh, you have any comment on this subject? Yeah, thank you, Lynn. I've seen your comment. Mentors are good listeners. Yeah, thank you. Yes, Josh?
Yes, I think now you're getting me clearly. Hello.
Yes,
I had a challenge with my background last time. And then the network also been so quick on my side presentation about the role of mentorship in the continuity of an organization or the success. And it's such an powerful and such an eye opener. I think that's been good. Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. So again, I'm sure we'll probably take some time just to listen through again, reflect on it again, and see what probably we can grasp even as we reflect on the same topic. So I'll just want to move on so that we can conclude. As you can see today, there was quite a lot because we needed to spend some good time talking about project proposal. So allow me just to conclude by taking you through lesson 15, the power of personal growth and development. Again, when it comes to leadership, we say that leaders, there are some core 4 skills that we talked about. Maybe I may want us to refresh our memory. In the earlier lessons, lesson 4, we talked about the core 4 leadership skills. Core 4 leadership skills. I don't know if you can remember those core leadership skills that we talked about on the chat. You can share on the chat if you can recall any as we start this discussion. So any that you can recall, the core 4 leadership skills that we discussed earlier on in level 1. That is also building on what we are discussing tonight. So the core 4 leadership skills that we discussed at the very beginning. Any that you can recall? It's actually connected to what we are discussing tonight. It's consistent. Let's see. So there were 4. So you can take a guess, even if it may not be the right one, we'll guide. But let's just take a guess. The core 4 leadership skills, or even just reflecting on the same. What do you think are the core 4 leadership skills that are very important for a leader? They might be consistent with those core 4 leadership skills that we discussed earlier on. So let me take on the chat, then we move on. The core 4 leadership skills that we discussed earlier on. Okay. Okay, convincing. Thank you, Joash. So two more remaining. Core 4 leadership skills that we have engaged on. So two more remaining. Let's look at the two remaining, then we move on. So just share on the chat the core 4 leadership skills. The core 4 leadership skills. Competence. One more remaining. So someone help us move on. Share the one remaining. One more remaining. Communication. Very, very important. So these are the 4 core leadership skills that we discussed. You can see on the chart. We looked at self-awareness. We also talked about communication, and we talked about influence, and then learning agility. I know today we are talking about, we're talking about personal growth. So this is in line with the learning agility, the 4th one. Yeah. So I'm sure now we have refreshed. I know we were juggling between the 5 C's of a global leader. Most of you have mentioned the 5 C's of a global leader. Yeah, conviction, competence. But Mary, you have mentioned communication, which is among the 4 core leadership skills. So good. So let's look at this. The personal development, very, very important for all of us leaders as we continue in our leadership journey. It's said that when a leader stops learning, then we stop leading. And even the freshness in us sometimes ceases. And people can tell when a leader has stagnated, especially in growth, because maybe they don't feel that freshness coming out of us. They don't feel those nuggets that sometimes are important because they trigger something. They trigger the conversation. They trigger our thinking. As we discuss about this, I just want to start with this challenge. What programs or activities are you engaging in currently for enhancement of your personal growth and development? Just a question to think through. What programs or activities are you engaging in currently for enhancement of your personal growth and development? This is a continuous journey. It's a continuous curve. This program, I'm sure it's one of the programs you can cite because this is basically a program that focuses on personal development. So it can be something educational, professional, it can be a research, it can be a life skills, it can be a book we are reading, a workshop you purpose to attend or you have scheduled to attend, but they are also intentional. You're choosing them intentionally, and it's part of your personal growth within probably your bigger plan. So through that, personal development is one approach to self-care. So how we take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others is through having intentional personal development plans. And that helps us to ensure that we're also taking care of ourselves as we take care of others. Our cups will not run empty, and yet people are expecting us to pour into their cups. Yeah. So this masterclass is a self-care moment. This is what we shared with you at the beginning. We said that let's spare these 2 hours to take care of ourselves so that when we move out, we are able to have something to pour to the cups of the people that we are leading. So self-care is not a selfish act. It's simply good stewardship of the only gift I have, the gift that was put in me, the gift I was put on earth to offer others. And anytime we can listen to true self and give the care it requires, we do it not only for ourselves, but we do for the many others whose lives we touch and those who depend on us. That's according to Parker Palmer. So self-care. There are 4 essential factors for personal growth and development. 4 essential factors for personal growth and development. One of them is focus. Specialize and focus. For Generation Leadership Network, we felt we need to focus on leadership, specialize on leadership, and go as deep as we can. And that will help us to have credibility and also to be able to unearth some of the information, the knowledge that probably others may not be able to get to those levels because that is not their area. So we are saying we need to focus, we need to narrow down, and just ensuring that we are hitting on the eyeball. And then focus. Secondly, is consistency. This is a game changer. Anything done over time, anything we do over time, we are able to be masters or in that domain. So consistency. Many people are knocked out when it comes to issues of consistency because this takes time, takes patience, and sometimes I'll give you towards the end. I'll give you an example of one case of consistency, just to be able to bring this into context. But you're saying consistency. Sometimes you are down there. Think of an iceberg. You are down there. People are not at the tip here. You are not visible. Nobody is seeing what is happening. Yet you are reading, you are researching, you are learning, and it seems like nothing is happening. But again, we still need to be consistent, because when we come out of the deep sea, having spent enough time down there, when we get up there, then the fruits are much more. The rewards are much more, especially if we're able to stay down the time that we were required. Think of a seed in the ground, buried, yet when it springs out, when it starts growing, it grows much faster. And then resilience. It's not an easy journey. There are many temptations to quit. I remember when we started building this content, and sometimes I'll read a lot of content. I go out there to speak. I feel like I'm not remembering much. And it was like, am I really investing enough? Why am I not recalling things that I've done, things that I've read? I've read books. I've listened to so many people. I've invested. But I don't seem like I'm getting it clear. I'm getting it right. You invite people, sometimes you don't get the quorum that you require, or that you feel, because you're feeling like they will have something very valuable to share, but you don't see like this is the way it's being seen from the other parties. So resilience, those times that when we are knocked down, we're able to come back and again move on. And then growth, we ensure that we're making steps. We are not at the same place where we were. So these are 4 essential factors for personal growth and development. Focus on an area, be consistent, be resilient to bounce back, and then ensuring that we are growing. Martin Luther King Jr. said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep on growing. Doesn't matter how little it is, but that continuity that I'm growing is important. I've already alluded to this. The iceberg, the success up there, is a result of so many things that are happening down there. And one of them is personal growth and development. Robin Sharma, the author of one of the books authored, is The Leader Who Had No Title. He says that the swiftest way to triple your success is to double your investment in personal development. And I've seen that those people that we have seen shining out there, including ourselves, where we are, I'm sure where we are, it's a result of the personal development, the time that we have taken to invest in ourselves. So that's the only way that we can guarantee that we are doubling or tripling our success, through personal development. Very intentional. So as part of the introduction, James Allen, he's the author of this book, As a Man Thinketh. He says that people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. Yeah? People are anxious. They're anxious. We want change. But again, if we if we ask the second question, I don't know if you can remember that image that we had at the beginning, where the speaker asked who wants change, and all of them said we want change. And then he went on to the second question. He asked who wants to change, and the hands went down. Then he asked the last question, who wants to drive change, and everybody walked away. So that I think that explains this, that the anxiousness and the willingness, we need to combine the two. Jim Rohn, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, but if you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. That's basically personal development. And then the law of intentionality by John Maxwell, growth does not just happen, we have to be intentional about it. And the sooner we make the transition to becoming intentional about growth, the better it is, because growth compounds and accelerates as we remain intentional about it. So leaders, we are saying that we need to make a commitment, probably just to upgrade our commitment, depending with where we are, at how you are faring on this particular area, so that this becomes very, very intentional. If there's no stretching, there's no growth and there's no progress. And again, we are saying that a plan will always get us started, that being intentional. A plan will get us started, but discipline and consistency will keep us growing. So growth occurs when we are proactive and also in a growth culture and environment. It's a process that takes time, and we need to focus on it. So John Maxwell, if we are growing, we are always going to be outside our comfort zone. It will stretch us out of our comfort zone. Albert Einstein said, strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Personal growth adds value to us. We become more valuable the more we are investing in ourselves, the more we are growing, the more we are getting deeper and focused in a particular domain, then we become more valuable. I see professors, very, very special, they specialize. But when you're talking about a particular topic, you can only think about a particular professor because they're specialized in that particular domain. Oprah Winfrey said, we can't become what we need to be by remaining what we are. There's only one growth strategy: to be intentional, plan, act, and ready to stretch and be consistent. I normally say that growth is our prophet. Basically, what I mean here is that it predicts our future. So if I'm saying where I need to be in 5 years to come, then I need now to come today and show what is my growth strategy. How am I planning to get to that particular level? Yeah. So we need to, growth also sharpens us. It makes our axe sharp. Ecclesiastes 10:10 says, if the axe is dull and one does not sharpen the edge, then he must use more strength. But wisdom brings success. When we grow, it makes our work easy to lead. We're able to use less effort, but get more results. Abraham Lincoln, he said that if he had 6 hours to chop down a tree, he would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. So if you're able to spend more hours in personal growth, then even when it comes to reaping the benefits, we're able to get more, able to achieve more, because we invested on the core, which is personal growth and development. So just bringing it to context, what are we talking about here? When you're talking about personal development, we're saying it's a lifelong process of discovering, developing, and deploying our skills, our abilities, our potential. And the goal is to ensure that there is maximum effectiveness, efficiency, growth, and also we're able to empty whatever is in us. We're able to bring it out and we're able to articulate whatever we need to share out. So the personal development process, where we're talking about discovery, develop, then deploy, master, and then deploy or actualize. Those are some of the stages that we need to think through. So personal growth development, there are some segments. So we are talking about this so that when we are putting down that structure, we ensure that we cover or we address all these issues that we are highlighting here. Yeah. So probably as we discuss this, try to see what have you taken care of, and what do you need to make sure that you're taken care of, especially on the development segments. One of the segments that we need to focus on is skill enhancement. So on the skill enhancement, we look at development of personal skills, personal abilities, and competencies on a particular domain. Second segment is mental conditioning, development and strengthening our minds, positive outlook and the resilience, building our capacity, building our adversity quotient, that we can be able to withstand the challenge and we have the stamina, the mental stamina to be able to remain positive and to remain on track. And then habit creation is the last segment, development of behaviors and thoughts. Yeah, behavior takes time, thoughts needs take time to be transformed. So habit creation, this is one that normally takes long. So we need to also to be intentional in terms of what are some of the habits that we need to start working on them, because habits also predict. Yeah, we can confess, we can say something, but again, when we look back, we want to see, are we in line with what we are saying? Our habits in line with what that we have planned out to achieve. So in addition to that, again, we need to focus on these 5 areas for personal growth and development, in terms of relationship, in terms of the health and well-being, wellness, in terms of career, again, in terms of finance, and also in terms of recreation. So there is one personal growth model we normally share, which you can apply in terms of just practicing what we are discussing here. And this personal growth model takes care of these 5 areas. One is the belief. So it helps you to work on your belief, the mindset, the identity, or the motivation. It also encompasses the issue of the plan. Plan here is issues of goal setting and the strategy. And also it ensures the action, the habits you need to work on, the execution, the productivity. What do you need to do in terms of the action? And then results. How do you look at the results? How do you get feedback? And then how do you review? Yeah, the assessment. How do you review? Let me give you a practical case on the same, just to compound this. So from this model, when you are looking, you're planning your personal development, you'll have an area of the belief. And the belief, for example, you can see the examples there, that I believe that reading is useful and can expand my knowledge. That's a belief. Okay, so this is what you believe. Let's move on to the plan. What do I do about this belief? I set a goal to finish reading a book every week. Okay, so the plan is there. What is the action? I place books and my Kindle reader next to my bed. Then what is the results? I read every night consecutively for 7 days. Then what is the review? I track my reading habits every night with a habit tracking application. So this is a practical example of this personal development model. So you are working on a belief, and then from that belief, you are working on a plan. You have an action plan, you have the results you want to achieve, and then you also have the process of how you review. So personal development may include the following among many other goals. One is defining and planning, where you have a personal development plans, and this is the agenda of this class, just to help us enhance maybe whatever we have. If you already don't have one, then it is an opportunity to come up with a personal development plan. And the personal development, we are saying the goal, again, is to help us improve self-awareness, self-knowledge, skills, improve skills, and also personality awareness, building or renewing identity or self-esteem. So these are the issues that we need to ensure that we address the personal development goals as we plan it out. Then developing strength or talent, improving career. We're also talking about improving in terms of our potential. In terms of the career, we're talking about employability or human capital, maybe enhancing lifestyle or quality of life, improving health, improving wealth or social status or value, I'm also improving our social relationship and emotional intelligence, and also spiritual identity development and recognition. So these are the goals that, as we plan it out, we ensure that we have taken care of all these areas, the spiritual, the relationship, among the other issues that I've highlighted there. So when we are working on the process, so we need to focus on these issues that I've highlighted here. And we are saying that personal development plan, the process encompasses self-analysis. This is what we started with, level 1. Personal reflection. We have emphasized on personal reflection throughout this journey. Then honest appraisal of our strength and weakness. And leaders, you can remember that we also took some time to look at this. So we have been working towards this journey. And at this level, lesson 15, just a matter of reflecting and just trying to put together all that we have discussed along our journey. So take a personal analysis, then set the goals and the objective even as we move on. So as you plan on this, the personal development cycle, what we need to focus on in terms of the process, one is to establish aims and objectives. And then current realities, this is also what we were looking at earlier on. And then what are the gaps? What are the needs? What needs do you have so that they can inform your personal plan? And then what are the appropriate development activities that can address those needs? And what are the goals? What are the strategies for reaching the goals? How do you measure your success? And what is your feedback system as you walk along? So this will help in terms of putting up and or ensuring that all these areas are taken care of. But again, remember, when we assess current realities and get gaps, identify the gaps, then we are able to put those strategies or come up with the strategies to address the gap. Those strategies are the ones that are in our personal development plan. So the other model you can apply is the plan, do, check, and act. I'm sure maybe most of us are conversant with this. So you plan on the areas you need to focus on or to improve on, execute the plan, then check to see are you achieving the results, and then review to see what action do we need to undertake, probably to improve or standardize the process, and then continue with the process like as you move on. So personal development attributes, I mentioned the essential qualities. One of them is focus. So follow one course until it's successful. That's according to Robert Kiyosaki. So narrow down and to one course and then focus. Positivity is key. This will keep us moving. Even when there are challenges, it will help us to be sober and open-mindedness. Then consistency. Success is the sum total of small efforts repeated day in, day out. So consistency is a key attribute, is a success factor of personal development and growth. Then self-discipline. Sometimes there are good opportunities that may not really necessarily be contributing to the core of our focus. So that ability to say, this is what I stand for, this is good, but not within my line. So self-discipline and self-control, and also adhering to the process of our personal growth. And then patience. Yeah, consistently doing everything we can, but being patient about results, because it's about a process, which takes time. Then persistence, especially to ensure that there is a will, a will to succeed, even as we grow through the journey. So this is a story that I mentioned that I'll share this. The story of a Chinese bamboo tree. Maybe some of you have heard the story again. So as we conclude, remember this, that a Chinese bamboo tree, the seed is so hard that when it's planted under the soil, it takes 5 years for the germination to occur. And those 5 years, the farmer has to be positive, the farmer has to be patient, the farmer has to be persistent in terms of watering the seed, has to be consistent, has to maintain a positive outlook, must have faith that one day it will grow, and the self-discipline of watering that seed every day. Yeah, and after 5 years, that is when the seed germinates. And it is said that, you can read this story online, that within 6 weeks, that Chinese bamboo tree, after germination, is able to grow between 80 to 90 feet. Actually, they were saying literally, it's even possible to notice its growth because it grows very fast after the germination. But remember, 5 years, the farmer could not see anything, could not see any fruits, could not see the results. But after 5 years, 6 weeks, the farmer is able to witness significant progress. And I can connect this with the personal development and growth. Sometimes we might invest a lot of time under the soil, but one day it will shoot. And when it shoots, within no time, we start realizing the benefits. So leaders, I think for it's to encourage all of us that it might take time, but again, we maintain those positive attributes that we have talked about. There are some traps to watch out. Environment can help us grow, or it can trap our growth. So we need to monitor which is your growth, your environment, your environment. It can be in the organization, it can be the community. So we need to see which environment are we in, and does it help us to grow? The mindset is also another trap. So we need to work on our mindset in terms of our growth, in terms of being intentional, and also building the habits that might take some time. So dealing with those self-defeating habits, because every new level in life demands new habits, and upwards plans demand upwards habits. We are what we are, what we repeatedly think and do. And Albert Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So as we work through this process, moving from the comfort zone where we feel safe, we're in control, to the fear zone, to the growth zone. The growth zone now, it's where now the real personal development fruits are noticeable. That's where we're able to connect to our purpose and be able to live a more significant and meaningful life. Remember Robert Anthony, what he said, that you can only have two things in life: reasons and results, but reasons don't count. So the measure of personal growth is results and impact. And leaders, I'm sure that as we reflect on this the discussion, that we can pause, think through, look at where we are, look at the strategies that we have in place, and see maybe what have we picked from this discussion that can help us to enhance our personal growth and development. Because when a leader stops learning, then we say that leader stops leading, and that becomes a setback, not just to the leader, but also to the bigger team. It's my hope that we'll be able to pause and see what we can run with to help us in terms of improving our personal growth and development. So that brings us to the end of lesson 15, and I think we have extended with about 9 minutes, but I think we took some good time to discuss about project proposal, which was very, very important, so that we can set the pace for next week's discussion. So let me pause just to take your reflection on the two areas. If you still need to cover something on the mentorship, you can still mention, but we want just to take the reflection also in lesson 15, personal development and growth. As we share our reflection, that will be also be the climax of tonight's discussion. So maybe to guide us, I just again invite all of us. I can start with Lynn, and then I'll move on to Margaret. Maybe each of us can just mention something that we have picked as we bring the discussion to a close. So Lynn, if you are comfortable to unmute and mention, you can just share, or if you also feel you can chat, that's also fine. Okay, so maybe we can, whoever, maybe let's just make it open. Anybody who feels you just want to unmute and share comments, please, let's do that. The next 2 minutes or so, then we close.
I'll share this, that many times we quit because we are not seeing immediate results of our work or effort. So in growth, I mean, it needs patience. It needs patience, but we are always in wanting to see our immediate satisfaction, which is, it's not like that. Yeah.
Yeah, true, Margaret. So we embrace the delayed gratification. We embrace the delayed gratification. Sometimes you can delay and get something better. You can invest and get better returns in the future. So there's always the instant gratification versus delayed gratification. And delayed gratification is where I can invest. I can take this course. Maybe the results will be much better than what I can get at this particular time. So I agree with you, Margaret. And I think it's also part of the culture that we have grown in, and we have also we've probably even promoted. And I think this also is an opportunity just to help us work on the culture and work on our on the mindset, not just of us as leaders here, but also the people that we are leading, that we can invest and come out better and enjoy better fruits in later on through the process. So thank you, and that's well noted. Eunice, we are saying personal development is key. You've noted the model. Thank you so much. Let's practice the model, starting with the belief and working down to the rest of the area. So thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Eunice. I don't know the rest. Lynn, Mary, Joash, and Reverend Ken, any comment from your end as we conclude?
Maybe let me go ahead.
Yes, Josh.
On that aspect of growth, I think what I'll pick is to trust the process. Sometimes we may lose patience, and maybe again assume that you could maybe have another easier way of doing something, which may not be the tried and the tested. Always follow that tried and tested. Like for example, that Chinese bamboo tree. You know, it has been tried and tested that it's only after 5 years that it can come out. So there's nothing you can do to it to make it come out earlier. And maybe that serves to tell us that God's timing is always the best. Like the time is already preset for something to happen. So at least that one, we encourage us to have patience in what we do, because sometimes we may be in a hurry, especially when we are doing things which have not been done by others before you. So in such a case, then we need to have the patience. That's my takeaway today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Josh. Emphasizing on the two things, the process and the patience. I think in any personal growth plan, that's critical. And I think I shared that even for us to do what we are doing tonight, it's really taken a long journey. It's taken sometimes very lonely journey, because you are like a seed and you are hidden in the soil. So sometimes you want company, but you can't grow in that company. You have to be outside the company. You have to be hidden from the company, so that you are in the right environment. And those moments have been there where we feel like I need to move out and go out and be in the company of the people. But again, you feel, no, if I cannot achieve this, if I don't hide myself in the soil. So I believe that leaders, we'll be able to reflect on this. Think about, I encourage you, look at that story of the Chinese bamboo tree. Maybe you can also see another perspective as you look at it. But again, in summary, we are saying this is something that we need to be intentional about. Nowadays, we are living in good times because of the information flow is all over, is all around us. You can attend a conference, a workshop anytime online, and there's so much resources that we can pull through. So every time can be a learning time. And I think this is a great opportunity just to ensure that we continue to grow. And I think we are talking not just for ourselves, but we're also talking about for the people that we are leading. We might be doing very well on these areas. So I think just a reminder, and also maybe take the time to also remind the people that we are leading. So thank you so much. And I want to bring this to a close tonight. I really appreciate you for the resilience, the way you're pulling through, especially on the project proposal. I think Reverend Ken, you joined us a little bit after we had contributed on the project proposal. We have had a very, very good discussion. And I think we are set now. We have already set the ground. So I would request that try as much as possible by next week, Thursday, share whatever you have. Whatever raw, whatever format it is, it might be very raw. Don't mind, just share. That will provide us with an opportunity to also give you some input. Maybe if we can do it by Wednesday, so that we provide the feedback by Thursday, and then you can look at it on Friday. Then on Saturday, we now embark on the same and look at what we have been able to do. So we're on the right track. Let's push through. Next week, Saturday, we'll handle the last lesson 16. And after that, we look at the project proposal. And then the other Saturday, we'll just have the session on project proposal, and that will be the climax of this masterclass. So we are at the tail end of this discussion, and we want to finish like Boeing 787. I think that is the latest. We finish very loudly, very powerfully, and with synergy and with the power. So we'll push through, we'll engage until we ensure that we finish at the peak. So thank you, and maybe if there is no any other additional comment, I think we have shared. I just request we unmute, share the words of grace as we conclude for tonight. So we can unmute and share the words of grace. And may the grace
of our Lord Jesus
Christ,
the love of God,
and the
and
fellowship
the fellowship
of the Holy Spirit be with us now
and forevermore.
Amen. 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 Have a good night, leaders, and God bless you.
You too. Good night.